Welcome to my show. It's a guest here. Her name is Kenogi Gigali. Mrs. Kenogi, how are you doing, ma?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, ma. Firstly, you are a family court survivor and you are also an author. Can you please, ma, discuss more about yourself and how you're doing currently now, ma?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me on here, and just sharing this platform. So, just as a quick introduction to myself, I actually am a family cult survivor. I have been out of my family cult since 2022. So still fairly recent. I'm still acclimating to society outside of the family cult, um, and that process has been a bit of a journey that has actually brought me to the book.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi. And can you also discuss more about your book, which is the Family Court Paradox, ma?
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up in a family cult,
Mm,
and again, a lot of people don't necessarily know what a family cult is.
mm,
Um, Once breaking out of that situation, I had a lot of issues with the type of abuse and trying to explain to people exactly what was happening, and that it wasn't just me, that there are communities of these types of fundamentally family cults. Um, and so, in order to just find my own healing and process that, I actually started to do a lot of research on family cults. And through that healing and understanding the process, the indoctrination, and what I and other children have gone through, I was able to write this book as a an, an information center to people that are possible victims and survivors of family cults.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi. And personally, I'm even also surprised that something called family cult does exist because I thought family is just a place where we unite, we talk, we laugh, and we also show the love we have with ourselves and go our separate ways when the time comes. So I think me hearing this makes me really learn a lot. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi. And can you also try out your best to, there's something that we call family courts, and there's also the organized one. That's, the one they organized. Can you please try to describe what makes a family court different from the larger organized courts in terms of control and structure, stuff like that, man?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big part that we touch on in the book. So, again, whenever you're thinking of organized cults, there's a definite size and scope. It reaches out larger into diverse society and, again, tries to bring in new members. There's a recruitment process with a lot of your organized cults. You always have like a centralized leadership. There is also, while they're trying to recruit from, your basic population, once you are in the cult, you are isolated. They typically have their own identified rituals and practices. And typically there is economic exploitation as well, and that gives you a general idea of what an organized cult is. Now, if we take those same things and kind of apply it to your family dynamics, um, you're going to see that your centralized leadership is usually a family tie, a parent, a grandparent.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a little bit of a less formalized structure to family cults because, again, they are making it up as they go, as it were. Um, Sometimes there is like inheritance of leadership. Again, it's like a generational passing of the leadership over time. There's usually a very, very just embedded intimate control over the children in these situations. A lot of children actually experience spousification, parental enmeshment, and just various types of abuse where literally the child has absolutely no control over their
Mm.
life whatsoever from birth until they're able to escape the cult. Um, a few other points is again, severe isolation. These families and these cults in particular isolate their themselves and their children from regular society. It is very much their own beliefs, and the secular world is extremely foreign to us. A lot of friendships and outside, influences are extremely withheld. TV, any other types of social media, everything is very controlled of what comes in or goes out of that family cult. You'll also have different types of religious factors that are usually at play. God is usually used as a manipulation tool versus a spiritual enlightenment.
Mm.
Um, and again, you see a lot of the control is done through family relationships versus an outside source of a cult leader. So it's not exactly like you're going to say no to your mom and dad, or you're not going to say no to your grandparents. And so that is the basic power structure differences in an organized cult versus a family cult.
Hmm. That's very inspiring. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi. And I would like to dive more when it comes to this family calls daily rituals or daily practice. Do you think there's any specific rituals or practice unique to family cults, compared to the one of the organized woman?
Um, you know, I think this particular question is an excellent question. It's one
Okay.
of those it's one of those that doesn't have necessarily a straightforward answer
Okay.
because it does fall on a spectrum. However, I will elaborate and say that a lot of times where the differences come in between an organized cult and a family cult is the abuse that we often see within the two are far more intimate because again you're talking about your parent or grandparent as your leader, so that experience is a little bit different than Mr. Smith over here that you just joined his belief system cult, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi. And I would like to know, no matter how such group is, there will definitely be probably the stubborn type or the one who doesn't listen. So, what do you think? How do you think family members probably deal with, people who are disobedient compared to the ones who are, in larger courts now?
Um, so if I understand your question, like how the punishments are, I guess, are different within a cult versus outside society.
Yes.
Okay. So I think a lot of the focus on a family cult is based on submission. It is very much based on authoritarian rule, and it is from a top down leadership, and there is the hierarchy to that. And so the lower you are on that hierarchical system, the more submissive you need to be within that family structure. And I don't think you necessarily see that in normal society family structures. So, as being let's say you have a family of 5 children, it's going to be the 2 oldest males that are going to be the higher in the hierarchy system.
Mm,
The oldest male is right directly under the father when it comes to the rule of the home.
mhm.
Then second in line after the oldest brother is the youngest brother. And let's say the last 3 children are daughters. All 3 of those daughters are going to have, again, a hierarchy of their roles and responsibilities, and the submission not only to their older brothers, but to their father, and then ultimately to God. And typically, that youngest sister is going to be the most submissive of all of those children.
A question definitely also popped in my mind. Do you think family calls are mainly done by people who are so wealthy? And do you think this family calls, do you think they usually do marry themselves, or they actually go out to have their marriage, man?
Again, another excellent question. So, wealth may or may not play a part in some societies, or not societies, but some of these family cults.
Okay.
So, meaning they, again, this brings up such a great subject, and I'm going to try to like really get this articulated for you. So, wealth power structures play a big part in a lot of your fundamental Christian cults, the family cults specifically. Um, and it's not necessarily to gain additional wealth, but it's to maintain a certain level of wealth. Um, because wealth in a lot of your fundamental Christian cults are based on um, it's a theory called the claim it system, where if I have a certain amount of wealth, I'm going to claim that I want more from God, but it's my faith that equals that claim. So therefore, I'm able to get the said money. Um, and this also does play a factor a lot in marriages and marriage arrangements. So a young man coming to quote unquote court, um, you will see a lot of, you need to, prove 3 months of, financial record. You actually need to make sure that you can take care of my daughter, or you are, a submissive wife to my son. So money does play a very big part of that power structure.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi. And I also want to know, when you when you left the family cult, ma, how did your experience of breaking free differ from what you know about people living from the organized cult, ma?
Oh, um, the probably, oh gosh, the first few months were probably the most difficult.
Oh.
So because whenever I broke free, um, under my particular family cult, I was in real danger of conservatorship.
Mm.
And for those who are not familiar, Britney Spears was under a conservatorship. A lot of people, whenever they escape family cults, are often, if they're not able to get far enough away, the family cult will often put them under a conservatorship to keep the control of that child. And so there was a real danger of that for me. And so the first few months, I was in absolute terror. Um, And that really not only affected my mental health, it also affected my physical health. Just those, just dealing with fear on a daily basis of they're going to find me. And then to add in, you know, learning, wow, I can actually wear the clothes that I want to wear. Learning, oh, I can actually park at certain parts of the parking lot. I mean, the all of these little things that I felt like a newborn, as it were, looking with new eyes on society and trying to re-enter it. And I don't even think re-enter it is the right words. I was trying to enter society for the first time in my life. And it's extremely overwhelming. And I think the one thing that I've learned so far about my experience and the biggest takeaway is people are not as horrible, scary, and abusive as the cult tried to make society be. It was literally a manipulation tactic to keep me in fear and inside of that home.
It must be really, really tough, Mrs. Kenogi. And I completely agree. Thank you so much, ma. And I also just want to be clear, my apologies. Are you now a happy person with a family now, or do you think you just want to make a change by speaking to people throughout the world, ma?
So, this is one of those things where I am still finding my path.
Okay.
I am extremely happy. I have amazing people that I have met and have been able to create such a foundation and network. Um, I have an amazing partner
Mm,
and family through him. And I have just exploded personally in such a positive way. But now with the book, I think it is time to expand on the love and the foundation that I have here, and ex, just completely take the world over with this book and a new understanding of what is happening in our society, and really spreading that message and helping victims turn into survivors.
mm. And I sincerely want to appreciate for that. Thank you so much, ma. And I'm so happy that you are now, having this exposure and stuff like that, which is definitely healing you from those things. I'm so glad for that. And I would like to know if you definitely have any advice you would like to give to the audience, man.
Oh, I'm going to try not to cry on this one.
No problem, no problem, man.
um there's always hope.
Hmm.
There is always hope, because inside of these family cults, they quelch every single bit of individual bit of person that you are, any little bit of individuality, any bit of joy and happiness that you might experience independently of the cult. But there is hope, because the world is not this big bad place that they've taught us it is. That there is a world that is full of compassion and willing to embrace you and teach you and help guide you on your way.
Hmm.
There is a possibility for regaining yourself for the first time.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kenogi, which makes you a strong person. It's not easy. Despite the fears, trauma, everything is just going to come over. You are like in a new, you just feel like, why am I now? I'm just having this experience. Oh, this is happening in this world. All those things will come. It's definitely not easy. And I'm so happy. that you are strong and you are coming back to yours. Thank you so much, man. And there's a question I normally ask Mrs. Kenogi from the ancestors, from the forefathers. If there is anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing will be, ma?
Probably, again, a stronger identifier of self and the bravery to not be scared to forge new lands if need be, but to embrace who you truly are and fight for what is right.
Hmm. Mrs. Kenogi, I want to personally thank you for your time, for having the interest to be on my show to talk about the experience of family calls, what someone could, face there. I personally have not even know that stuff like that happen. Now I've learned from it, then I can move on and know that okay, stuff like this happen. I want to personally thank you, and I'm so happy that now you are back on board. You are passing the message. You have people you talk to now, which makes you a happy person. Thank you so much, man.
You're so welcome, and thank you so much for having me on your wonderful show. I've actually gone through and listened to quite a bit of your stuff. It's
Thank you, man.
You're doing a wonderful job of educating the world.
Have a wonderful day, man. Bye bye.
Bye bye.